it's Linda from Homestead by the Lake. So we're going to start a soup series. Today is going to be old-fashioned vegetable soup. So I have a really good vegetable soup recipe. And basically you're going to start with some onion and some garlic. Oh, I need to flip over my beautiful cutting board. This onion I got from a local garden. Oh, it's nice, very nice. So I wanted to get this used up because that one piece was already starting to grow. So you need one onion. And this makes a fairly decent sized pot. So I would say, you know, one medium onion. Oh, they're making me cry. Throw those in your pot. With your onion, you're going to need some olive oil that you're going to add to the pot. And we're going to saute the onions. Oh, these are strong onions. And you need 3 cloves of garlic. Oh my goodness. These are some potent onions. I'm not making them too small. Just dice them up. I'm going to need a little bit of olive oil, probably about a tablespoon, I would say. Cover at least the bottom of your pot. And now I need 3 cloves of garlic. And if you're a garlic lover, you can put as much garlic as you want in it. It's okay, I'm a garlic fan, so we can keep that in there. So now, just mince up your garlic. Turn your pot on to medium. Just want to saute this for a little bit. Just to get the flavor into the oil is basically what you're doing. You don't need to cook it long enough, like to cook the onions. You don't need to do that. All right, let me go wash my hand to saute that. Give it a few minutes. And enjoy that smell from the onions and the garlic and the oil. Oh, I love it. Okay, so next what we need is a quart of canned tomatoes. And I have some tomatoes that I canned in 23, and we are going to use these. And I will tell you, you can use any tomatoes that you want. If you have home canned tomatoes, it really does taste the best. But if you don't, or can't steal a quart from a friend, then you can use store. It's totally fine, but you need a quart. So I'm going to turn that down now. I'm going to add my tomatoes. Oh, I love that smell. All right, put the whole quart in there. Now to that, oh, I need my celery. You need about 2 stalks of celery and 2 carrots. But I also have some canned carrots that I did this year that I'm going to use those. This soup comes together so fast, and it's so good. When I tell you, I mean, it's so good. And if you make a big enough batch, you can also put some in the freezer. But you could have soup all week for your lunch or your dinner. All right, we're going to throw some celery in there. All right. Now to that, we are going to add pepper. A half a pepper. And I have some chopped pepper, looks like different colors in here, that I had in the freezer, and I want to use that up. So that is all going in. Now, this is the best time to use up some veggies in your fridge. If you have anything in your fridge that you need to get used up, throw it in there. You can put any veggies you want in here. I have some squash in the freezer, so I'm going to add some squash to it. Oh, where's my beans? Oh, here we go. I also have a little bit of bean that was in the freezer. And I'm going to throw this in. I've used asparagus in it. I love using beans from the garden in it. It's just so good. What else have I used in there? I don't know. Basically, whatever I have in my fridge or my freezer that I want to get used up. But the main ones that I use are the carrots, green beans if I have them, and squash this time is going to be new. I have never put squash in it. If you have zucchini, you could put zucchini in it. Whatever your favorite vegetables are, you can put in this. All right. And this really and truly is the most nutritious soup. You're making it yourself. You know what you're putting in it with all of your vegetables. So much healthier for you. So much healthier for you. All right, now I want to add some squash. I think it'll be interesting to have squash in there. I'm just going to add a couple handfuls. You can also use, you don't have to use fresh vegetables. You can also use any canned vegetables you want to make this recipe easier for you. Rinse your vegetables, drain them, out of your can. Here's my carrots. I'm gonna go drain. These carrots I cooked with just water. So I could use them in any recipes at all. They're just plain carrots. You know, I don't know if I need to. Yeah, I'm gonna use them because I love carrots. So we're gonna use it. Okay, now to this, while this is heating up and cooking, you want to add vegetable broth. I've canned my own vegetable broth, so I'm going to use this, but you can use just a box of vegetable broth. Whoa, came out. Beautiful. That's just sediment from the bottom, it's fine. Now we're going to add some spices. So we want a teaspoon of salt. And I like to use Himalayan salt. Just a teaspoon. And you need a half a teaspoon of pepper. But again, you can put as much or as little or leave it out as you want. And we need some parsley. I have a little bit left of my fresh parsley, which I want to use up. Whoops. Don't miss the pot. And it's about 1 teaspoon. That was a little bit more. And some oregano, a half a teaspoon. And some basil, half a teaspoon. Stir that up. You want those spices to have time to get into your soup, flavor, make the flavor just wonderful. And now the last things I'm going to add is some greens. And I have some kale in the freezer, so I'm going to add that. Is this cut up? Doesn't look like it's too cut up. I think I'll do some chopping on it. You can add spinach, whatever you want. It's your soup. This looks good. These are smaller. All right, now, what I also like to do with this soup is add a bean. And I do not have, I don't have any beans made. Let me see what I have in my cabinet. I have a kidney bean in the cabinet. I should have thought about that. I should have made sure I had like a white bean. I would prefer to do a white bean in this soup, but that's okay. And this can only has 120 milligrams of sodium, but I'm also going to rinse it and get hopefully some more sodium off of it. I like to do my own beans, so I'm not using all that salt. And put 1 can of beans in there. And again, any bean that you like. If you don't like beans, don't put it in. Oh, totally up to you. Oh, this is the best vegetable soup, I will tell you. We're gonna turn it up, we're gonna get it going, but that is going to be so good. I'm gonna clean up my space and I'll be back. I'm gonna bring you close. So now what we wanna do is simmer it for a good half hour or so till the rest of your veggies are cooked. Let's do a taste test. And at the end of this, I will also have the written recipe for you. Oh, that is so good. So good. So I'm gonna put the top on and I'm gonna let it simmer for a half hour or so. Look at that soup. Thank you so much for watching my video, and I hope you make your own vegetable soup. Hey, it's Linda from Homestead by the Lake. So today in our soup series, we are doing butternut squash soup. This recipe is so good. And also, this recipe is vegan. For those of you that are vegan, the first thing you need is a 3-pound butternut squash. And trust me when I tell you, these are not easy to cut. They are normally hard as a rock. But we need to peel it. Actually, that wasn't bad. How come? I'm going to use my peeler and peel it this way. This is such a nice, comforting, warm, just delicious soup. So good for you. Whoops, don't put your skins on the floor. I love making this soup, and this soup will freeze really well in your freezer. If you make a big batch, just pop it right in the freezer, and it's great. All right, so you need 2 tablespoons of olive oil in your pot. That looks good. And you need to chop up 1 large onion. You do not have to make this small at all. Just chop it up, get it in there. Strong little onion. It's getting me. Yep, it's getting me. Gotta go wash my hands. Those onions were grown locally. Not mine, but they were grown locally. Boy, they're strong. They make me cry every time I use them, but they're good onions. So now what we want to do is turn our pot onto like medium high. We want to saute our onions in the olive oil. And I'm also going to need some salt and some pepper. Where's my grinder? I'm going to use Himalayan salt. Where is my grinder? There it is. Things get lost in my cabinets. It's awful all the time. Things get lost. So 1 large onion, 2 tablespoons of oil. We need a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Whoops. Be careful. 1/2 teaspoon. And then some pepper. If you like pepper, you know, or if you don't like pepper, put as much as you want in. That wasn't a lot. All right, just saute this to get it a little soft. So now we're going to cut up our squash, and you want to, you know, kind of be consistent with the size as much as you can. That will just help cook it so it's all, you know, cooked at the same time. Boy, isn't this a pretty squash? Look at how nice that is. That's beautiful. So I'm just going to cut them in these circles first. Actually, this isn't bad. I did sharpen my knife before this recipe. I think that helped. Watch your onions, don't let them burn. Turn that down a little bit. Whoops, there's our seeds. Got to get those out. And this is a local squash, so I am going to save those seeds in a bowl and dry those out. Hopefully grow some squash. So now I'm going to just chunk it. You know, I should say cube it. I want to try to be consistent and do like little cubes. It will just allow it to cook consistently if they're all pretty much the same size. I'll be back when I'm all cut up. Okay, we are all cut up and my onions are softened. So now you want to add all your squash to your pot. Whoa, don't lose your squash on the floor. That around, get your oil on there. All right, and we are going to just simmer this till your squash gets soft, and then we'll be back. Probably gonna take about 8 to 10 minutes for the squash to start to soften, and we'll check that. Keep an eye on it, you don't want it to burn, and we'll be back. So this is what we have so far. Look at how nice that is. And just let it continue to simmer. I put the lid on until it starts to get soft, about 10 minutes. So while that is still getting soft, we're gonna get together what we need next. So you need 3 cloves of garlic. You need a tablespoon of minced rosemary and a tablespoon of sage. And you need, where's the ginger? 1 teaspoon of ginger. You know, I always keep ginger in the freezer and it works really well. You know, every time you need ginger, let it sit out for a minute and you're good to go. So I'm gonna chop all these up. I think there might be more of that sage. That doesn't quite look like enough. Because it says 1 tablespoon. That looks better. And 1 tablespoon of minced rosemary. So we're gonna just chop that up. Oh, don't you love rosemary? I do. I forgot to take it off the stem. I mean, I'm sure you can probably use the stem. I think I just prefer not to. Pull out what I see. And the more you chop, the more that flavor is going to come out. All right, that looks good. And I'm going to slice my ginger. And chop my garlic. So also what's going to happen is you don't have to worry so much about getting these into, you know, small pieces because you're going to use your immersion blender. So all your spices and all your garlic and everything and your onion is all going to be blended together. All right, that's good. So when the squash is soft, we'll be back. All right, it's been cooking about 10 minutes. So now we are going to add our garlic, our ginger, our sage, and our rosemary. This is going to have the most amazing smell while you're cooking this. Let those spices just kind of cook in there for a minute. Telling you, beautiful. Next, what you're going to need is 3 to 4 cups of veggie stock. And I have made some, so I am going to use this. Where's my opener? Smells delicious. All right. Add your veggie stock, 3 to 4 cups. So now we're gonna let that come up to a boil and then we're gonna put the cover on it and we're gonna let that simmer for 20 to 30 minutes or so until the squash is cooked. And then we'll get our immersion blender out and we have soup. All right, we have come to a boil. So I am going to turn this down to simmer. We're gonna put the lid on and we will check it in about 15 minutes. All right, it's been about 15 minutes. So we're gonna check on it. It's still simmering. I wanna see how soft it is. Let's see. Oh, it feels nice. Get one up on the side. Oh yeah, it's soft. We're good to go. All right, once your squash is soft, take your immersion blender or blender, whatever it is that you have that you use for blending, and remove it from the heat. And blend it up. Oh, plug in your immersion blender. Oh my goodness, Linda. All right, mix it all in. 3 chunks. Oh my goodness, who is ready for a taste test? Oh, you know what's worse about taste tests is it's always so hot. But you can't wait to taste it. You have to taste it right away, right? Oh man, that is so good. So this is where you want to add some more salt, some more pepper, or if your soup is too thick, you can add more vegetable stock and heat it back up on the stove. I am going to add some more pepper. I like it a little spicy. I'm going to add a little bit more salt. Not a lot. My consistency, I'm fine with. I actually would have preferred it a little bit thicker. So I probably should have put 3 cups of vegetable broth in it rather than 4. But it's okay. Let's taste again. Oh my goodness, that is so good. I hope you make your own soup. Now, how healthy is this? It's so healthy. It doesn't have, whoops, there's a chunk, that's okay. It doesn't have all of the stuff that you get in a store soup. Look at that, it's gorgeous. I hope you make your own soup. So much healthier for you. Homemade's better. This is Linda from Homestead by the Lake. Thank you so much for watching my video, and I hope you make your own soup. Hey, it's Linda from Homestead by the Lake. So today we are making a tortellini vegetable soup. And this is going to be so good, and it's so simple. So first you need a 1/4 cup of olive oil in the bottom of your pot. That looks about a 1/4 cup. And you need 1 medium onion, and chop that up. We're going to dice that up. And add that to your pot. Try not to drop your onions on the floor. Like I always seem to do that. All right, these onions get me every time. Every time. Turn your pot on. And we want to just let that saute a little bit. And then what we need is we need carrots, which I have canned carrots. we're going to use those. These carrots were canned in just water, so I could use them in recipes. I do have a video on canning carrots if you're interested. It's in my playlist. I'm also going to need some celery diced. So let's get some of these out and get those going. To store celery in my mason jars. For me, it just seems like it lasts a lot longer. And I'm just going to cut off all these ends. Make sure the rest is fresh. And you need about four stalks of celery. I'm going to slice some of those. Just dice it up some. We are also going to need 4 cloves of garlic. So I can start peeling those. All right, we are going to add our celery to our onions and our oil. Let that saute for a few minutes. Whoops, there goes my opener. And some of my garlic was bad, so I had to go grab some more. Let's cut up our garlic, kind of mince it. So now we're going to add our chopped garlic. Give that a few minutes to get going in there. Let the flavors get going. So now what we want to do is start adding in some spices so that can saute a little bit in with all of your onions and your garlic and your olive oil. We need, let's see, 1 teaspoon of paprika. And we need 1 tablespoon of Italian seasoning. Give that a stir. And then you want some salt and pepper to taste. So I'm going to just put a little bit in, and then when it's done, we'll taste it and see if we need to add any more. Ooh, the smell's coming out of that pot. Very nice. All right, so now what we want to do, we've got them all together. So now what we want to do is add our broth. And you need 7 cups of vegetable, or you can use chicken broth, whichever you prefer. And I have my, where did I do with that? I have my veggie stock that I had canned, and we're going to use that. This is this 2 cups? This should be 2 cups. I'm pretty sure, yeah. That one's going in. And then I'll add this one. So that's going to be pretty close to 7. We want that to come up to a boil. And we're going to add our carrots in at this point. Because my carrots are already basically cooked. We want to add 2 tablespoons of tomato paste, but I don't have any tomato paste right now, so I'm just going to use a sauce. It's going to be totally fine. 2. So we're going to let this come up to a boil. I'm going to turn it back up. And I do not have any heavy cream. It calls for heavy cream, but I do have coconut milk, and I'm going to use what I have. So we are doing coconut milk. Perfect. All right, let's go over the recipe. Olive oil, medium onion, carrots, celery, garlic, paprika, Italian herb seasoning, salt and pepper, tomato paste, your vegetable stock, and then you need your tortellini, and I had some frozen tortellini that I'm going to use, and you need Parmesan cheese. We need a 1/2 cup, which I have to grate, and 1/2 cup of heavy cream, and then your spinach or your kale, whatever type of green you want to use in there. All right, that has come up to a boil, so we are going to cover it and simmer it for about 20 minutes, and we'll be back. All right, so now, you know, I'm using tortellini. I'm sure you can probably use any kind that you want, whatever you want. Like if you just want a pasta in there, anything that's good for soup. But I have cheese tortellini, so I'm going to add that. And then I need 1/2 cup of grated Parmesan. And you need 1/2 cup of heavy cream, which I don't have, and I'm using coconut milk. And stir that all in. I would like to get a lot more of this out. I have some kale in the freezer, so I'm going to add that as my green. Oh, this is going to be so good. And how simple. This is a very simple soup recipe. It makes a nice big batch, so you can have lunches, and you can have dinners, and do it, you know, dinner one night, lunch the next day. Let me bring you. There we go. How does that look? Is that not amazing? This is such a good soup. I was ready for a taste test. I'm just going to taste the broth. First, I'm going to sneeze. Oh. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Ooh, that is so good. Like, I can tell you, that is so good. All right, ready? You have your carrots and your kale and your tortellini, and it's so creamy. Look at that. It's beautiful. Thank you so much for watching my video. I hope you make your own creamy tortellini soup. Hi, it's Linda from Homestead by the Lake. So, who's ready to make some crock pot veggie chili? You could add meat, but I'm not. So today, we got the crock pot out, and we are going to make a veggie chili. I love chili season. It's just, and you know, it's so good for you. So you want to cut up an onion. Just dice it up, throw it in your crock pot. Woo! Don't lose your onion. Slippery. All right, in your crock pot it goes. You need 4 carrots diced, and you need 2 celery ribs diced. I have carrots already canned. Where's my, and they're canned just in water. So I'm going to use these. Let me go drain them. And I'm gonna add my carrots. Oh, get in there. I'm gonna cut up some celery, 2 ribs. How do you guys make your chili? Do you put meat in it, or do you like just the beans? I really do like just the beans. I mean, I'll eat the other chili too, but oops. But I really do just like the beans. So this looks about right. It's about a 1/2 cup or so of celery. Just dice it up. Cut up your vegetables the way you like them, however size you like them. Or if you want to dice them, you know, it's your chili, do what you want. Okay, so after that, we need some zucchini and some squash. There we go, throwing the celery on the floor again. So my celery's going in. Now, I have some squash that I had already saved up in the freezer. So that's going in, and it's already all chunked. Look at how nice that is. In you go. Now, I do not have zucchini, but I do have shredded zucchini in the freezer. That's what I'm using. We're just gonna throw that in. We have to use what we have. And it's totally fine that it's not zucchini chunks. I'm still getting the benefit of the vegetable, just not in chunk form. That's totally okay. All right, so now we're gonna add some spices. So now we're adding some spices to this recipe, but there was a lot of veggies in this, and I ended up changing the spices by the end of the recipe on the taste test. So you want about a teaspoon of Himalayan salt, a tablespoon of cumin, a tablespoon of chili powder. I ended up adding some, sprinkling in some garlic and onion powder and some hot pepper flakes. Now, I have kidney and black, and I searched through my cupboard. I didn't have any more. But you really, kidney, black, cannellini, pinto. All of those would be good. But you need a total of 3 cans, and I just don't have it. So this chili's getting 2 cans. Okay, so you want to drain and rinse your beans. All going in there. Now what we need is 3 cans of diced tomatoes. And you're going to just put the whole can in. 3 cans. I'm not using my own tomatoes only because I had these that had to get used up. So we're going to use these up in our chili. One more. Oops. I'm so thankful for the can opener. I don't think my hands could do it anymore. All right, 3 cans of tomatoes, diced tomatoes. And to that, we're going to add 1 8-ounce can of tomato sauce. I think that's everything. Let's go over it. Carrots, celery, onion, zucchini, squash, chili powder, cumin, salt and pepper. My beans, and then 3 cans of diced tomatoes, and the small can of tomato sauce. Now you want to add corn. I have some fire roasted corn. And it says about a cup. Whoops, that'll work. That's it. Now all I have to do is plug it in, turn it on low. It'll be ready for dinner. All right, so this is what it's looking like so far. It's not going to do too much right now because it's not plugged in. But I will bring you back through as it's cooking and you get to see how absolutely amazing this turns out. I'm going to start it off on high. I want my onion and celery on the bottom to get a little bit of heat going first. And I think I'll do high for a little bit and then I'll turn it down to low for the rest. All right, it looks like everything in here has already defrosted. The zucchini and the squash. And this has been on high for a couple hours. So now I'm going to turn it down to low and just let it low simmer in the cooker. This is Linda from Homestead by the Lake. Thank you so much for watching my chili video, and I hope you make your own chili.